Hey, welcome to another exciting episode of the Twisted, Bent, and Exhausted Entrepreneur Podcast. My name is Jeff Harrison, along with
Leslie Spoor.
And you know what's funny is whenever we have the title up there, our names don't show up. So just refer to me as Jeff and her as Leslie. And then if I take this down, Leslie, all of a sudden our names appear. Oh, there they are.
That. Oh, yeah. That's amazing.
But anyway, but you don't know
magic,
the name.
Magic.
I don't know why both won't show. But anyway, hey, yesterday was April Fool's Day, and did you do any April Fooling yesterday?
Of course I did. I have to give my husband at every chance I can.
Did he fall for him?
Always. He always does. He did. Well, sometimes he doesn't, but most of the time he does. Yeah.
You know, I'd love for those people watching, if you did an April Fool's joke and it worked out really well, put it in the comments, share it with us. I think that's always fun to share. I think that'll be fun. But, what we're going to talk about today is not an April Fool's joke. It is something I think that is very, very important, Leslie. It's one of those things where how everything is evolving. I'm reading this book now. It's called The Future is Coming Too Fast, and it's by Peter Diamandis. Yeah. And it's by, let me just make sure I have this right. It's by Peter Diamandis and his friend, oh no, so that's not it. Just looking it up in my library. Yeah, The Future is Faster Than You Think. It's with Peter Diamandis and his friend that it's not showing up on the title. But anyway, it's just like everything is evolving. They're talking about how finance is going to evolve, how real estate is going to evolve, how medicine is evolving, all of this stuff. And so, something that I've been working on the last few weeks here in the middle of April, or excuse me, the first week of April, it's launching, and it is part of my system that I call the opportunity engine. And
I don't know if I like that name.
Yeah, you don't like it?
I don't think so, because it doesn't really.
This is being recorded, right?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, thanks. She just slammed me. Jeez, she doesn't really. Gosh, I can't wait till I get to support her on her next idea.
You know that I always tell you the truth. I never lie.
Gosh.
I don't like it that much because it doesn't engage you right away. It doesn't tell you really what it is. And if it's what I think it is this the tool that you're creating to be able to generate vetted leads for people?
Yeah, the reason I call it the opportunity engine.
Qualified leads.
Yeah, the reason I call it the opportunity engine is as business owners, what do we want? We want more opportunities to talk to a qualified customer. So the title is that. I have a really cool tagline that I'll share later. But what it really does is it disrupts what we've always been taught to do is, hey, if we want leads and want to pay for them, we should just do ads. And I'm here today, no fooling, April 2nd, is I'm going to say that when I release this and it gets mainstream, it's going to disrupt the billion dollar ad industry, in my opinion, because it's not going to be necessary. It's not going to be necessary anymore.
Well, it already is a little bit not necessary because everything's answers, right? When you go into a browser and you search for something, it gives you an answer. It doesn't give you a paid ad anymore. Very rarely, if it doesn't have a good answer, it might give you a paid ad. But as a rule, you're getting answers and not ads. So already, I think that whole genre is a little bit passé. And for business owners like myself, being able to identify qualified opportunities is huge, because we spend a lot of time spinning our wheels trying to, we go to all the networking events and we talk to people, and quite a number of the people we talk to are not our ideal customers, and they're not, they may be adjacent to our ideal customers, but trying to develop a relationship strong enough to be able to get that opportunity is a very long process. And what you're suggesting, if I understand you correctly, is that you'll be able to provide to our inbox a set of qualified leads like every day. Is that correct? Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, yes. And when we say qualified leads, just let's say, for instance, let me use it my example. Let's say, for instance, I wanted to identify other marketing companies that do content marketing, and I want to promote my content accelerator as a white label product for them. So what I do is I basically define what that looks like and the type of company, what they do, who they service, and things like that. And I'd put all that together, and I would then have my opportunity engine, if you will, go out there and find those people and score them and find out, hey, you know what? I've looked at these 47 different marketing companies, and these 10 are the best based on what the criteria is. And here's a scoring system on that.
Right.
And so it's not just saying, like, the old days of saying, well, here, I get it every day, still today. Hey, here's a lead list that you can email or you can prospect on. You can go scrape, you can go and scrape the internet and create a lead
That's
list
illegal.
that is just garbage, right?
Yeah.
They're very cold. Well, this is a much different approach. And so, yeah, I think it's evolving. And I've talked to a lot of people. Not many people do this, and I actually saw this commercial where somebody was promoting paid advertising. I'm like, I think you're better off. This is just me, and you may throw stones, not only you, Leslie, but other people watching.
I'm not gonna
Is
them.
is I think the idea of paid ads, you might as well go to Vegas or like Atlantic City, because at least you're going to get a free drink when you put your money on the table. This, and
Yeah,
you
but
get it. You don't get
you,
it. There's no
yeah,
no
yeah, but
guarantee.
you did paid ads for many years as part of your digital advertising,
Yeah,
right?
I did. Yep.
But they always came with a caveat, right? And that caveat was that this approach takes a long time to build the brand and the notoriety and the awareness of your company, right? And the difference is this new system that you're going to be launching will identify for us our ideal clients, so they're a warmer lead than just paid advertising that goes to anybody. Do I understand that correctly?
That's correct. That's
Yeah.
correct.
And what that's going to force our markets to do, because I already teach this, is you have to identify your ideal client, and it has to be far more specific than we've ever had to do before. When I'm teaching about networking and marketing to small lifestyle management companies, I have things that I always recommend doing, but to be able to get leads delivered to you that are exactly what you want, it's going to take some definition, some really clear definition, and they're probably going to need help with that. Because generally, when I say, "Who's your ideal client?" and they say, "Everybody."
Yeah.
Everybody's not your ideal client, or they'll say women. I go, well, what age are women? Well, 40 to 60. Okay, well, what kind of income do they have? And where do they live? And what's their lifestyle like? And, all these different geographic, is that the right word?
Psychographics.
Psychographics associated with this person, so that we can get the ideal, or you can get the ideal target client, so that the information that this thing spits out, whatever we call it, is going to be valuable, right?
Yeah. And it's almost like this is like, my wife does the shopping, thank God. But there are times when she sends me to the store, and there used to be days she'd send me to the store and she'd say, pick up this. And I'd be wandering around that freaking store, and I'd finally find it. And I didn't realize there were 47 different choices for that one item she wanted. And I'd think, okay, she wants the most expensive one. Let me get that one. I bring it home. She says, that's not what I wanted. I said, it says right here, that's what it is. She says, no, this is what I want. So now when she sends me out, she gives me a picture of exactly
That's
what it
good.
is. And
That's
now
good,
when I
Dan.
go, yeah, and now when I go, I know exactly what it is. Well, what you described is doing the same thing. And that's what we've done is we describe with high level of specificity that this is who we're looking for. And anybody else other than that is filtered out, because that's a waste of your time and your money. And so
Yeah.
I think that's a unique thing. And you know what? People will say, well, Jeff, doesn't paid ads do that? It does to a degree, but I want you to think about this. When you do paid ads, and I'm going to give you an analogy on two sides. When you do paid ads, when those go out in the marketplace, I want you to realize all your competitors who also do paid ads are in that same location looking for exactly the same people.
Right.
So what happens, it's very crowded. It's almost like when you go to a dance and you're the only gal and there's 14 guys there, they can't take their eyes off you. Everybody's going for that one dance with you. Well, in the world of business, what that means is a simple supply and demand. When you see a high supply of providers and a low demand of people who want to pay for that, what happens is it drives the price down, because now I can bid against each other. You know, I can bid against you as another plumbing company. And next thing you know, the only two people who win, the person who got your service, and the second is the provider of the advertising, meaning the platform like Google or Facebook. And so when you do this, it's so much different. Here's the flip side of this. And I just watched this movie. I love kind of war movies kind of thing. And I watched this movie, and it was about the Rangers, the elite force of the Rangers. And they move with such precision, you don't even know they're there. And next thing you know, they've taken over this whole compound. Well, the cool thing about what we're talking about here with what we've developed is, or what I've developed is, it goes directly to the person and finds those people, creates a conversation with them in the voice of you as the business owner, and creates a relationship and follows up with them to say, okay, we're working for let's say a call, an appointment of some kind. All of this is happening on your behalf while you're still running your business. Yeah. And these are high level people. So when they come out the other end, it's almost like you put in clay dough on one end of the conveyor belt, and it comes out a ready-made customer on the other end. I kind of like that model.
It's kind of a clone system. No.
Yeah, and I'm not. And here's a cool thing. I'm not competing with anybody. I'm the only one playing. And I gave an example of like, if you had your own private lake that was stocked with your ideal fish, they were this size, this weight, they tasted like this, and you got to get your limit every day. And then just behind you, there's somebody who says, I'm putting 10 more in that are exactly your specifications. So when you come back and fish tomorrow, there'll be 10 more for you. How cool is that?
It's very cool. It's very cool. What I think is really helpful is that, one of the things I hear a lot when I'm working on the 5-day challenge with people is that they understand they need more social media, but they don't have time to do it, or they're not really good at it. Some people are great at social media. I am not one of them. That's why I have you doing my social media. But most of my people that I work with also are not that great at it. They do recognize the value, though, and there is value in it, especially if you're on the right platforms. But one of the things that you're combining now is the content accelerator, which is the thing that creates the videos, the blogs, the posts and things for all of social media, and this lead generator, right? So
correct.
So it's going to not only generate the leads for you, it's going to automatically send this information to those people. Is that correct? So you don't have to do it yourself.
Yeah, so that's correct. That's correct. So what happens is, if you think about like, there's those, remember as a kid you had Pop-Tarts, you put them in the toaster, and very quickly you had breakfast. And then it was like, well, but I could make eggs in a waffle. That takes time. Well, the eggs in the waffle, if you will, are like the content accelerator, creating the content. It takes a while for that to come to life. And I honestly tell people that sometimes, based on where they're at, how much content they have, Leslie, is it could take 6 to 9 months to really get a leg up in the marketplace.
Right.
Most business owners, they usually don't turn to, I need to do something, until it's almost too late, right? It's like, oh my God, there's nothing in the refrigerator. I better go buy something. And so they make bad choices. But the point is I said, I need something that happens long-term, but I need something that happens short for them. I want to build something short for them that starts creating leads, real leads, valuable leads now. And so the day you put this into play, Leslie, you immediately start getting leads that are of that high quality. Now, it may take a week of the communication back and forth with the way I have it automated to have that conversation till they say, yeah, I want to have a meeting with Leslie, or I want to sign up for her 5-day challenge. Well, that's the goal. But all this is happening behind the scenes. And when you say, Jeff, how I do better with my my software is when I can actually talk to people in my industry and find out what they're doing and realize they don't have the software, and I have 5 days to talk to them about it and get to know them, build a relationship. Well, then that's who we need to send to your 5-day. That's who we need to go out there and work with. Well, now that takes the pressure off the business owner, because they can have what I call now money and future money. So that once that content is made, here's a cool thing. All the content we make for clients, these are questions their ideal customers are asking. So even though we say it's an answer engine versus search engine optimization, we're already there. So whether they ask, why is my air conditioning blowing warm air? They're going to ask that question now, or a year from now, or 10 years from now, if their air conditioner is blowing warm air. And if you have an article on there and it's in depth, it could be written today, and 10 years from now, it's still producing new clients. So that's the cool thing. Yeah. So it's now money, future money. And when you combine them both, it's a what we call an opportunity engine.
That assumes the internet's going to last 10 more years.
Yeah. This is the cool thing.
The content's out there is questionable. So.
Well, the cool thing about this is this will work whether we have the internet or not.
Oh, well, then you can't beat that.
Yeah.
So I think this is a really cool product. We do have to come up with a better name, though. What did you say you wanted to call it?
The opportunity engine. And the reason I do that is because it's a complete process. Now within it, we have the content accelerator.
Oh,
and then we also have the automatic lead generation machine. I don't know what we're going to call it. I don't have a formal name for it.
Oh, I thought that's what you were calling the opportunity engine.
No. Yeah. It's like going to Starbucks, but I want a latte.
Yeah,
or I want a frappuccino, right?
You've got coffee on the brain since you're trying to cut down.
Hey, I got to tell you, if you're trying to stop drinking coffee, don't, because when you do it, you're probably better. And I don't promote. No, I just want to go there. Don't do it because you get a massive headache. I'm in day 2 of a massive headache from caffeine. I'm coming off a caffeine high, I guess.
Why are you trying to quit your caffeine?
It's having a little issue with my stomach, and I thought, I'm going to try not to drink it for a few days and see if that makes a difference. And it did make a difference, but it made my head hurt. So the pain went from my stomach to my head.
Hey, what if you drink decaf and just fake your body out?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the cream in my coffee. So
that could be, yeah.
Anyway,
we digress. So, well, I think that's a really awesome thing, because I hear that complaint a lot. And even for myself, I've been trying to, I'm pretty well defined on who my ideal client is. But over the last 20 years, that client has changed. I was talking about that, the BNI thing the other day, is that who we were marketing to 20 years ago is now different today, because those people have all aged out. And the newer wealth, or the newer affluence that I market to is younger. And younger means more do-it-yourselfers. And so trying to demonstrate value to them can be quite challenging. It's a whole new approach. You can't ever in a business rest on your laurels. You have to constantly be innovating, adjusting, improving. I've updated my website, I think 3 times in 20 years as far as the look of it goes. Part of that due to changes in the way they were presented online. You have to make them look so the formatting is consistent, otherwise they look old and outdated. So from a business perspective, embracing these new tools, which are AI optimized, right? So when you're embracing, this is another way, guys, of utilizing AI for your benefit in your business. Again, it's not so much that AI is going to replace you, but if you want to think about it as a replacement, instead of you going out, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do this because you still have to do it, but instead of going out 5 days a week networking, you can go 2 days a week and use this engine optimization for the other 3 days. And you're getting actual real targeted opportunities, which is enormous. I would, I really can't wait for you to get it released because I want to use it for both my companies. I'm
Yeah.
trying to build both my companies, and so I've always trying to build them, but I'm actually focused this year. The last couple of years, I was focused on um, upgrading everything and making everything look current and better, enhancing my software and all that stuff. But now I'm really focused on marketing and networking. And so that kind of a tool would be ideal for me. And it's something I can promote to my clients as well because they all need it. I know they all do.
Yeah, I think something, especially for a local business owner that has local clients that uses the service I have, the system, and you do go out to events and
Mhm.
your customers are B2B, what that will do, it'll accelerate your authority in the marketplace because you're probably connecting with some of those people that are going to those meetings and it's all happening behind the scenes automatically, and they're now recognizing you and they come up to you, and you just have to be prepared. You have to be aware of, hey, who is this sending information out to, which obviously we have a dashboard so you can see that I've sent it out to Leslie Spoor, and maybe I didn't know Leslie, but I go to a meeting and she says, hey Jeff, I got your email the other day, thanks for mentioning it, and you talked about X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, huh? You can't do that. You have to be aware of what's going on. So that's
Yeah,
but that's really a cool thing because now it's like with us, and you see this, Leslie, as much as you're out and about with all the video content you make and the posting that you do, people already knew you, but now they have a different awareness of you because you're everywhere, right?
right. I'm trying to be.
So, yeah.
Um, some of my interstate clients, have said that my videos are all of a sudden filling up their feed, which I'm glad to hear. They're not so glad to hear it, but I'm glad to hear it because that means we're doing what we talked about. And we have recently optimized all my websites and content for AI. That you did that, and I've gotten 2 calls in the last week where people found me through their ChatGPT
How
queries.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very exciting because when they ask a question, and one of them was for my software, she said, is there a concierge software made specifically for this industry? And my name came up.
Outstanding.
Yeah, it
Outstanding.
came up first, actually. And then after that were some generic software systems that aren't specific for this industry, but they are ones that are used by small businesses.
Mm.
So those came up, but mine was the only one that was specific to the industry. And she saw a demo yesterday and she really liked it. And now we're doing a 5-day challenge. So, the opportunities are there when you get to the right people.
I love it. Something that we have to be aware of is, there are people in our society today that have never spoken on a phone that's connected to a cord on the wall.
I'm like,
And I
I'll
say
say
this
that.
because there's going to be a generation that already is alive that will never go to Google to search.
Right. They'll just go to
They'll go to
my legs.
ChatGPT, they'll go to Perplexity, they'll go to Gemini, whatever, but they
Yeah.
won't use Google. And that will go by the way of the phone. And that's why I said, hey, that's why in my opinion is the traditional way of paid ads is on its way out. I'm not going to say it's dead because there's still value there, but it's not like it
Well,
was before, because now, Leslie, I think more and more of our ideal clients that we try to advertise to, it's almost like going hunting for deer, and now the dadgum deer are wearing camo. I can't see them. I can't see them there because they're getting harder because we're being more restricted on what we can and cannot, or who we can and cannot
your
get in
your
front of.
metaphors your metaphors are quick today. Um, I was going to say though, I always have to bring you back to this because you and I talk about AI all the time, right? And you are a genius when it comes to AI. I tell you that like at least twice a week because
Thank you.
listen, guys, he really knows this stuff. It is scary the stuff his brain comes up with because of working with all this AI. However, the preponderance of people out in the world are not there. And so when you and I talk about it, we understand it and we get excited, but most people are not at all familiar with AI, and most of them are afraid that it's going to take their job away. But I keep telling people it's not going to take your job. It may change your job, because you no longer have to do all the routine, mundane, daily tasks. You can get an agent to do that for you. It's like hiring a virtual assistant. You can have it done for you.
Yep.
And this is just one more aspect of that. So if you're not familiar, maybe you've just been writing emails through one of the AI tools and you've been maybe working on a newsletter or something, be aware that the ability for AI to help you grow your business is boundless, absolutely boundless. And it's only for Jeff's brain that, because he's constantly, and you know what, he gets excited about this stuff. And so he's working a ridiculous amount of hours because it's like, oh, I knew I could do this and this and this. And I get that because you know me, I'm a serial creator. I like to, and that's serial with a C. No, just kidding. I'm a serial creator myself. So I get that, but I do more things with words and you do more things with technology. So it's really quite interesting and cool. But I don't want people to get overwhelmed or think, oh my gosh, this is great for them, but it won't work for me. It'll totally work for you.
Yeah.
Totally. And you shouldn't discount it. You should actually take a look at it and try it out and see how it goes. And see, once you start using it, you'll never go back. Never.
Well, there's no reason to go back. And I have on the screen here, it says learn, build, adapt, create, and repeat. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're constantly in one of these phases. And
Right.
Leslie described where she was in this adapt and the create phase. And now she's probably going to repeat, but she's also building and running two major corporations, two major companies. But even though she's doing that, this is the cycle she's in. Here's where I think sometimes, Leslie, and stop me if I'm wrong, is sometimes we beat ourselves up because we fall into one of these silos of we're learning, building, adapting, or creating or repeating. And we see that we're not attending the functions. We've let our flow of activities drop. And that's where having automation in your business doesn't allow that to happen. I'll give you an example. Let's use your 5-day challenge. And we're setting this up now, right? So we set up an automated flow that will go out and find your ideal people who would be perfect for the 5-day challenge. We define that, we give them the information, and now my team goes to work. My team of automation goes to work and finds these people. Meanwhile, you're still finishing writing your book or you're finishing training people in one of your corporations, whatever that is. The point is, the lead generation didn't stop. And where entrepreneurs, we all get in this situation is sometimes we have to get off one horse to get on another one, but that horse needs to keep going. But we
Right.
don't have enough bandwidth. Yes or yes?
Yeah, there's only 24 hours in a day. No matter what you do, there's only 24.
So this is the cool part about where I think we live right now, not where, but in the time and space we're in right now. We have the ability to create these automations that happen even when we're not there, so that we can say, hey, I can take a vacation, but my customer's still being taken care of. I'm still generating leads and those leads are being handled. Oh my gosh, how would that be? Isn't that why we kind of got into being in business for ourselves? So we have some freedom like that. I think
Well,
now
yeah.
we live in that time where it exists.
Well, yeah, and you have to decide, as a business owner, you have to decide where your skills are best utilized. And I'm always talking about working on your business and not in it, right? Because most small business owners end up working in their business, right? They're the face to their client. They're actually doing the work. They're doing the networking. They're handling the finance. They're doing all of the things that you have to do, and they're exhausted all the time. The one that just called me, that just found me on ChatGPT, those were the words out of her mouth. I mean, and she said to me, I need to be working on my business and not in it. And if I could have kissed her through the phone, I would have, because you know how I am. I preach this day in and day out. You have to work on your business, not in it, on it, not in it. And you can't reach or achieve operational independence if you don't switch that, reframe that in your brain. I understand that working for clients is fun, and there's a sense of gratification that when you go out and you talk to a client and you do something for them, they're appreciative and they like it and it gives you validation. But validation needs to come from inside. And it also needs to come from the fact that you built a successful business, right? And a successful business means optimizing the tools that are available for you. That doesn't mean having 8 different apps that do, that you're running your business on 8 different apps and it costs you all this redundant effort to get things done, right? But
Yep.
if you have for example, in my case, if my clients have a software system like Essential Elements and they had your lead generation system, that covers all their social media and all their billing and admin functions. And think how much more streamlined and efficient that would be for them, right?
Yeah.
And then they have time to go to a mixer or a ribbon cutting or speak in front of realtors. I'm speaking now myself 2 to 3 times a month somewhere,
Which
right?
is a lot.
Which is a lot because and some of them are expos, which means you got to prep and you got to haul all the stuff and set up and you're there all day and it's a lot. So, but I couldn't do that, 2 years ago. I couldn't do that even a year ago because I was so busy restructuring everything so I could do it, And so, and it's more, in my case, it's more laborious to restructure because I have 2 businesses and I do them at the same time. So, I don't do anything in serial. I do it all at once. I know I'm crazy, but most people don't have that much to restructure. So it's a lot easier for them. And I'm that same person I'm working with is talking about, she wants to change the name of her company and she hasn't decided yet what. So I already sent her some suggestions on that to help her.
Call it the opportunity engine. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I'm totally on board with that. But I want her she wants to expand her reach. And she was actually doing one task for people and then they started asking her for other things. And so she wants to change it so she's doing other things and then they ask for that one service. If that makes sense. So that she's broader in her offerings and that means a different kind of a name. So, I'm really excited for people like that who are at that point in their business where they've got some success already, but they have the opportunity to restructure and optimize and identify the opportunities in front of them so they can grow better, grow faster and more efficiently.
Well, I made this little list that I want to share, and this is a surprise because I didn't tell you about this, but this is the typical business owner, and it's true whether you're in Minneapolis, you're in Tuscaloosa, or you're in Miami, or you're here in the Coachella Valley. These are the problems that an average local business owner faces. And Leslie, you're more than welcome because I know you will. If you see something that you don't agree with, you'll tell me. But I just want to talk about this just a little bit. And I talk about businesses and this is why businesses have challenges. They have inconsistent visibility, and that means they're not showing up when their customer search. And we talk about this. I just now it's about 10 days ago, I delivered a website to a client who wanted a very basic website, no blog, just very, very simple, 4 pages. And then she was upset or she was bothered when I delivered it to her specifications. But then when she searched online for some phrase or keyword that she thought she should show up for, it didn't show up. And I explained to her, I said, you don't have any content on your website. So I went back and I said, I'm going to help juice it up a little bit. I'm going to, which we normally don't do. And you're not going to get this when you have your website built from 99 out of 97 website builders. They're not going to do this. They're designed to build a website, deliver it, and then you're the one who has to stock it. It's like you're buying a refrigerator. They don't give you a full refrigerator. They give you the refrigerator. You got to stock it. Well, we forget about that with a website. But I said, here I am, a nice guy, I had my SEO and AEO optimizer. I had him working on it to fill up her refrigerator, if you will. So it would start showing up, even though it's a brand new website. But they're not showing up in the customer search. So when they're showing up for an XYZ physician, she doesn't show up because they have little to no content presence. Like when somebody says, who do I call if I'm looking for a primary care physician in Rancho Mirage? She's not going to show up. My other customer is going to show up that we've made that content for.
I
And,
know.
the website is static and unperforming. That's something I've got to give to you, Leslie. You're always optimizing your website. You're always putting stuff on there. We're putting content on there, videos, but you're changing pages. You're making new pages. The search engines love that stuff.
I know.
So the other one is unpredictable lead flow. Stop me if I'm wrong, but sometimes you're busy and you're slow in other words because you're no reliable system for new opportunities. And that goes back to say, well, a lot of people I say, what's your most common or most reliable form of new business? And they say, well, it's normally referrals, but boy, they're really slow right now. Well, that is really not a system unless you really have an automated system that creates that. Meaning something as simple, Leslie, is, hey, I follow up with my current database, giving them value and also asking for referrals for new business every
Right.
week in my emails. If you don't do that, your best source of new customers are the ones that you have right now. So
That's
we don't
true.
do that a lot of times. Another one is a time and knowledge gap. And this kind of we talk about it. You're too busy running your business to learn all about this AI and this, all these things that Leslie talks about in her program, which is phenomenal. You don't write content because you don't have time. You can't create videos. You can't manage your outreach. So when somebody does reach out to you, you can't get back to them. And then you miss opportunities. Leads go unanswered. And I'll give you an example. I had a client come to me and said, hey, I want to generate these leads. So I put together a lead system for them. They were going to follow up with them. In the first month, I think we got 60 leads for them. And this is a high ticket product. I followed up with them. They didn't follow up with one of those leads. And here's the thing about leads. If you don't follow with them in like 5 minutes, they become stale. It's like
Yeah.
leaving milk out overnight. Just throw it away. It's curdled. It's bad. Go on.
Right.
And so it's like you wasted all that time for that because they didn't have a lead follow-up system. So those are just some things I want to share. And if that's off target, I think that probably plagues every local business owner on the planet.
Go back to the top. That just needs to say their core branding problems. And then is correct. Because
Well,
these are not the core problems of small business owners or local business owners. These are the core marketing problems they have, or
well, this is,
brand awareness problems.
yeah, just so you know, this is part of oh, we've lost our issues. This is part of a worksheet that I did for Swing Point Media when I was building the content accelerator. There's a intake form, and this is part of my answer when it says, hey, what are your customers' ideal problems or their problems? This is specifically for Swing Point Media and their
This
local
is for
business
your
owners.
digital leads.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and that makes
this,
total sense. But
yeah.
when we're talking about small business in general, this is not the core problems of, this is one of their core problems. I will agree to that, but it is their marketing, branding, uh, digital awareness problems. Yes. This is just specific to you. This is not for everybody.
Well,
I mean, it is for everybody. So
I would probably put my stake in the ground and say, yes, it is. Yes,
it
it
is.
is.
It is.
It
I
is.
agree. I
Yeah.
said that wrong. What I was trying to say is, to me, when you say what's a core problem of a small business, I think more operational, working in it, not on it, and not improving their in poor cash flow and um, lack of procedures. I think about it more from an operational standpoint. And then this is one of their operational problems. It's a subset of no time to do this branding, this marketing, this follow up. Because why I think this is such a problem for people too is because this is not their strength, right? So they know they need to do it, and they may even make effort to go network and stuff. But just the idea of follow up is a discipline that a lot of people don't have. And you're right, in today's instant gratification age, you must follow up immediately with people if you want to get anything out of those opportunities you identify. So this whole rack of tasks or visibility gets set to the side for things like cash flow and things like I've got to run my business and I've got clients that need attention and so that's all I'm saying. I think you're absolutely spot on for this aspect of running a business for sure.
Yeah, and I've seen people, and I've had this conversation with another past client who, they were asking me to change a font or a period
Mhm.
on a website, and I looked at the website. I'm like, your traffic, you've got like 7 people a month come to your traffic or to your website. That period or that font ain't the problem.
Right.
It's this. Nobody knows who you are, what they are, because they lack having content. They have no presence in the marketplace. So nobody's looking for them. I mean, an example of that is Fraser Pest Control.
Yeah.
When we first started with them, they had no digital presence. And then within 6 months, they had such a digital presence that when they went up for a bid for a 2,200 unit place up in the high desert that this group said, "Hey, we're looking for somebody to take care of this whole group every month and do the you know monthly maintenance for them." They won that bid, and when they were asked why, it's because they had a digital presence, and that they were in business for 39 years as a family owned business. But see, that wouldn't show up if we didn't make it a digital presence. And
There's no
so,
question. Yeah, there's no
yeah,
question that this digital marketing is one of the most important things you can do in this day and age. Everything is electronic, everything is digital, everything is AI centric already, and it's just going to get more so. And every one of these things you address from an AI perspective through the content accelerator and the uh, lead engine or what opportunity engine is all going to be AI driven, agent driven. And so, like I said, the trick to it is only that you can clearly identify who your ideal opportunity is. That is
yeah,
going to be the hardest part for people.
yeah. And I think we're talking about here is, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Which comes first is the systems and and the support behind it. I think you need that, because the last thing you want to have is, it's almost like the Bobby Flay effect. If you know who that is, or
Mhm.
they come to your restaurant and then they write about it, and you go from the sleepy little restaurant to now you're overflowing and you don't have the systems in place to support that. I 100% agree with what you're saying, Leslie, is you have to have these things in place. So, like you know, you already put all those things in place of like how things are supposed to be done when one of your people go to someone's home, follow the wall and how to follow up and this and all that there. The cool part about it is whether you have 100 of those clients or 5,000 of those clients, you have the platform, the structure, the infrastructure to take care of that.
Yeah,
So I believe it is important to do that. If a business comes to me and they have those things in place, then what's on this page to me is saying, well, it isn't the fact that you don't have the right branding on your invoice. That's not holding you back, folks. It's the
no,
fact that you're not creating enough invoices because you're not getting enough attention. So that's where
right.
the marketing comes in. So
Yeah.
I think it's not a either or. You got to do both. And if you plan to grow your business, you better have the infrastructure to support it.
Well, a lot of people don't understand about how to scale their business. And, that comes down to how do I maintain quality as I grow? And how do I, what kind of systems do I have in place that allows me to optimize my admin so I'm not spending 80 hours a week, trying to process payments or bookkeeping or um, time cards or any of that kind of thing? Or do I have an automated inventory system so that the replenishment is automated? So, a lot of that is tied, if you're talking about retail or even restaurant, whatever, anything that has inventory, usually they can tell through either the ordering system or the cash register, the point of sale transaction, how that inventory is being depleted, and automatically these days creates a replenishment for them that gets transmitted to their vendors that they know what to ship in for a new product. Um, and that's been around for a long time. That's not new, but that's totally an AI type of a process that could be optimized even further if somebody was inclined. And so we have to do the same thing with service businesses and all businesses. You know, when I wrote my book, that by the way, it's just about on Amazon. I'm just finalizing the cover right now. When I wrote the book, that was the point I tried to make in there, is that doesn't matter if you're retail, service, technology, manufacturing. It doesn't matter what business you are. The path to creating a successful company follows a certain path, and you have to have marketing, you have to have systems, you have to have procedures. You know, and I don't care if you have 2 people or 2,000 people, you still need these things. The bigger the company gets, the harder it is to control, though I will say that, because you have too much input, too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen. Because I've worked in businesses, companies when I was in aerospace where, you know, the division I'm at has 3,000 people in it, and trying to affect change, positive change in that environment is very, very difficult. People don't show up for meetings. Then they want to change the rules because they weren't there and they have a different opinion. And, you know, it just gets really hard. Where when you're a small business owner and you're the one that can make all the decisions, it's much, much easier. You just have to be willing to make those changes. And this whole opportunity to do lead generations and have it automated to do the follow-up and send the marketing information is like nirvana for small business owners. You know,
Yeah.
it's just, how could you ask for anything better? Do you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm so antsy to get my hands on it myself. And every time, and listen, folks, every time I say I'm ready, he's like, yeah.
No. Okay, so this is, you know, we're doing this on the 2nd of April. So by the 9th of April, her engine here, I'm putting it out in the world. Her engine will be ready and running. So
let me see, what day is the 7th?
it's a Tuesday,
7th is,
Thursday.
no, the 7th is a Tuesday.
But
So,
I said the 9th. I said the 9th.
We said the 9th.
I said
So
today's
I
the
won't
2nd.
know. So I won't know by the next episode whether or not I have it or not.
It'll be alive. It'll be working. I'm just
Oh.
saying it'll be up and running by then.
I'm just curious to see what happens. I'm really, really excited about this because I
Well,
see the potential. That's crazy.
Well, you know, here's a fun part about this. This is a bit like it's a bit like the volume on your stereo. You know, let's say it has a 1 through 10 number on it. You can turn it up, and you know, I like to start out with saying, "Hey, let's find 10 of your ideal customers." Because one of my clients that we're building this for, when I told them 10 a day, they kind of freaked out, like, "Ooh, that's too many," because they're public speakers, and they're like, "That's too many. I can't talk that much." I said, "But you got to understand, 10 doesn't mean 10. 10 could mean 1, and in the course of, you know, a month, those 5 days a week, that's 20 days, or 20 days a week, or 20 days a month. That could mean 10 or 15 opportunities to speak. And out of those 10 to 15, you might get 5. And then they're like, oh, okay, I get it. But you could turn that up. You could turn that volume up. Like we could double that. We could triple it. Like I can turn this up if you say, well, I can handle 1,000 leads at a time. I can do 1,000. So there's no, when you talk about scalability, there's no limit on what it is, as long as you're saying, hey, I'm not looking, you know, as an example, it's not such a niche market that there's only, in the world, there's only 500 people who do that. That's a little different. But if you're looking for someone, like you said, you have how many people in your industry that would be ideal to sign up for the 5-day challenge?
Yeah, thousands.
So thousands. So now you do the math, and you say, well, if I did 10 a day, it's not something that in 1 month I'm going to run out of potential people.
No.
Right. So that's the way it works.
No, but I'm surprised to see here's how my mind works. You tell me this speaker guy doesn't want that many leads because he can't speak that much. And I'm thinking, if I got those leads and I was a speaker, which I want to do someday, then he can raise his prices and be more selective. Right?
But he still can only talk so many times.
That's true, but if you raise your prices, you're going to get fewer opportunities because people won't pay. So, you know, some will, some won't, and so he can actually make more in less instances of speaking. Because how do you think those guys get to $50,000 and $100,000? They become so in demand that they can ask what they want. And so, he's not thinking about it the right way, in my opinion.
Well, you don't have the
I'm sure I
full
don't.
context of what this is. So in what you're saying is correct. It's one of those things that's just pure economics. If there's only one of me now and there's 10 people who want me, guess who wins? I get to negotiate and say, who wants to pay me $50,000 to speak and do a keynote instead of $5,000? When
Exactly.
there was
That's
only
what I'm
one
saying.
person who wanted me, now there's 10 or there's
Yeah.
100.
Right.
Absolutely. And quite honestly, it wouldn't take long, I think, if that's someone's goal, is to say, all I want to do is be on stage and be speaking and be paid. Using this tool would do that for you. I think in a pretty rapid process.
Yeah. It's
So
really exciting. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I
yeah,
said that already, didn't I?
you did. Keep your hands to yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
All
so
right. So,
exciting.
yeah. So today we're talking about, I threw down the gauntlet and I said, hey, I think paid ads not are dead, but they're on their last leg. I think they're in the ICU. And the reason for that is it's getting harder and harder to stand out in that paid advertising because, again, AI is changing the way search results come back, even on Google or Yahoo or Bing or Google or DuckDuckGo.
Yahoo. Yahoo.
Yeah, yeah, they're all different, and then there's all these privacy levels, right? Like, hey, on my phone it says, I want you to block all ads. Well, guess what? I don't get to see any ads. So
Yeah.
those are the kind of things that are happening, and so we have to be better at the way we get in front of our ideal customer. Here's one thing that I want to leave you with, and I'm going to turn over to you to close out, is when there was a survey done to consumers, they said they'd like to see fewer ads from those people. But you know what the businesses did? Ran more ads. So they did exactly the opposite of what they were asked to do. So what I have developed is it's a way for you to do it in such a way that you're not oversaturating them. It's almost like you're not Uncle Henry who calls and says, can I borrow money? You're Uncle Henry who calls and says, I have something I want to give you. And every time they give you something, it's a value, you answer the phone. That's the difference.
Yeah, I agree with that. This absolutely has value, and it is going to be an industry disruptor. I already saw a bunch of AI stuff that came out about that was going to automate graphic design in a lot of ways. And you know what that does? People are going, "Oh God, all the graphic designers will be out of work." No, I think that then where there's humans involved, it makes the humans more valuable, right? So because the the automation is analytical, it doesn't have emotion, it doesn't have the creativity that a human has. You can say, create this image, create me an image of X. I just went through this to make that book cover thing for the new downloadable we're doing for executive areas. My guy was trying to give me images of, the first one he gave me was of palm trees that were not indigenous to this area. And I said,
Mm.
no. And then he gave me a house that looked like an office building here, did not look like a house. And so we had to go through several iterations, and he's a graphic designer doing the design and came up with, I finally said, look, let's just do the area and not a specific house. Because out here we have so many different kinds of homes, from 900, 500,000 to $4 or $5 million homes, and they all look different. And so you can't really say a second homeowner. I didn't want to narrow the niche of who we're marketing to. So I still had to go through the examples to him. There's the cover, to um, show him what I wanted, because he could create anything. He created this, but it isn't what he originally gave me. Did not look like that. So
I think
um,
that looks, no pun intended, I think that looks very smart. It looks really, really good.
it looks just like out here, right? And you can
Absolutely.
see there's houses, but you don't see specifically the design of them. So it'll appeal to everybody who's buying second homes out here, not just the super high end or the super low end. It kind of just for everybody. To me, that looks like a street in the Springs, you know, kind
I
of like.
was thinking, I think that to me, that looked like the citrus, but
Oh,
the
it does
mount,
kind of look like the citrus too.
yeah, it looks like the
See,
entrance to this. It's very pretty. So yeah, a lot of people can identify with that. I think it's great.
Yeah, that was exactly, and the palm trees are, key to this area. That's one thing. When I lived back east, I miss the palm trees, but I love the fireflies. And out here, we have palm trees, but no fireflies. If I could get somewhere where they had both, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just trying to say that you need human, and he had, like one of the words wasn't capitalized, or it had the wrong word. He used to say protecting, and I didn't want to say protecting because this is not a security guidebook. This is a maintenance guidebook. So I haven't changed that word and that kind of stuff. So it still takes a human, even though somebody else can design it quicker than they used to be able to. So that's pretty interesting how it works. But I love the cover. So
Yeah. Well done. Well done.
well, you asked for one, so I gave you one. Saved you
Yeah.
some time.
All right. So I think we're going to call that a wrap, Leslie.
Oh, are we done?
Yeah, we're done. We're done. We're going to wrap it up. Hey, we invite you to check out more episodes. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. That's on Jeff Harrison or Leslie Spoor's YouTube channel or Spotify by the name of the Twisted, Bent, and Exhausted Entrepreneur Podcast. We're in season 2. This is probably episode, I don't know, 12, 13. I mean, we're now close to probably 75 episodes, Leslie. It's pretty, or 65 episodes. That's probably closer. And we're still having fun. And here's the cool thing about talking about entrepreneurs and this type of thing, always changing, always changing. So we'd love you to come back in, check in, let us know what you think about it. Please put a comment in there. And most importantly, share with somebody who you think would benefit from it. And we talk about all kinds of things. We talked about a lot of digital stuff today. Leslie is the queen of how to make your business more efficient by using systems and those type of things. And it's important to. She really talks from how to work on your business, not in your business. And so many entrepreneurs are trapped in their business and can't grow because they don't know how to work on their business. She's a genius at that, and that's what she just finished up a book on that, and I think it's on Amazon now, isn't it, Leslie?
It's going up today. It's called Freedom by Design, and it's going up. We have a video training on that. Remember, we did that a couple of years ago. That's also called Freedom by Design, but that's a self-study video program. This is Freedom by Design in the written book format, so that because people learn differently and they want options. And this this book is not, again, it's not industry specific. My background is operations and manufacturing, but then I've been doing service for 20 years. So and I did the same techniques and processes in both. So it does work for all kinds of businesses, and I'm really excited about that people from all walks of business can benefit from this book. So I can't wait for it to get out there. Maybe by the time we do the next episode, I can show it to you.
Well, I'm going to just real quickly, I'm just going to put that up there, and so you can see, because I do have a copy of that cover as well.
Do you?
I do.
I don't think that's. Yeah, that's the cover.
Freedom by Design. Yep.
Yeah, that's the one. We adjusted some formatting stuff, but otherwise that's the cover.
Yeah, fantastic. And I love the picture on this, is because so many of us as entrepreneurs, we fall asleep while we're working our what's off. And
I do. I have.
And so this is one of those things where this book really changes that to why, if you want to take a nap, it's with your feet up on the Barca lounger, not not on a report that you still feel like you need to get done. So bravo on that. So you say that's going to be up on Amazon.
Yeah, it should be today or tomorrow. It's on Kindle already, so it's out there on Kindle. But Freedom by Design: The Happy Path from Overworked Owner to a Self-Running Business. That's the process, and it's a pretty mature, healthy book. It's like 500 pages, so it's not.
It's a lot of work. Would you say
Yeah,
it's
10 years.
Yeah, real good stuff. All right. Well, Leslie, thank you for another episode. I really appreciate that. I hope you'll come back and join us. Not Leslie, but you as the.
I always come back.
She just keeps showing up. She's like that. Yeah, she's like that. She's like what is that? That's a boomerang. I keep throwing away, keeps coming back. She just keeps coming back. No, I'm lucky to have her, and so are you. She's a wealth of knowledge. So, Leslie, with that, I'm going to say adios, muchacho. We'll see you on the flip side, and have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Bye, you guys.